Hi, I'm Kesten Rono, and today is day 92 of A Course in Miracles with Autumn. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much. All right, jumping right in, reviewing Principle 22. Miracles are associated with fear only because of the belief that darkness can hide. You believe that what your physical eyes cannot see does not exist. You believe that what your physical eyes cannot see does not exist. This leads to a denial of spiritual sight. Okay. Miracles are associated with fear only because of the belief that darkness can hide. Miracles are associated with fear. What does that mean exactly? That in our fearful state, we still imagine we may experience what a miracle is? Obviously, if we believe miracles are love, grievances being incongruent with love, therefore are binding to our fears. If miracles are love, binding to our fears would cause us not to see miracles. Miracles are associated with fear, so I guess they are illusions if we believe in fear, only because of the belief that darkness can hide. So, darkness can hide. I suppose what this is saying is that when you believe darkness can hide, you'll have fear. But I guess darkness cannot hide if we are open to seeing with true vision. That true vision would allow us to simply see that illusions are illusions and that we have been seeing in darkness relative to light. Once we have access to true vision, therefore we can accept the truth for what it is. Well, we will see darkness for what it is, an illusion. Fear, therefore, has no place to capture us because we are not seeing in darkness anymore. So miracles, I suppose, move to the light. And yesterday we expressed that miracles are seen in light. The body's eyes do not see the light, but I am not a body. What am I? Miracles are associated with fear only because of the belief that darkness can hide. You believe that what your physical eyes cannot see does not exist. You believe that what your physical eyes cannot see does not exist. Therefore, whatever is invisible, we believe is not really here right now, that we call everything that we can touch, run into, or see before we run into it, we call that the real. That this is real life, and that would be real from the physical perspective. Perhaps there's some convoluted idea here that using the word sight for both the spiritual and the physical, once we're bound to the physical, so obviously accustomed to using our eyes for sight, maybe we find ourselves challenged, of course, therefore to wonder, what is sight if it is not seeing with our eyes? I suppose it would be seeing whatever is invisible to our physical eyes, or that it grants us some ability to see something other than what our eyes see. And if we can notice whatever this light is, if it's actual light, great, a light that our eyes could see, or if it is another way of feeling, another way of associating seeing altogether, well, perhaps that makes more sense in time. But let's believe that just because our physical eyes cannot see something does not necessarily mean it does not exist. Yeah. I suppose that we're kind of shooting ourselves in the foot here. If we believe that darkness can hide, therefore we cannot see it, so we are afraid, so we are putting our faith in the invisible, but only in the realm of darkness. Well, to honor the realm of darkness and believe that it cannot hide, or sorry, that it can hide, but not believe that the light could be hiding from us as well? We're not very consistent then, are we? Let's believe that the light can exist, that miracles are seen in the light. If we believe that miracles do not exist because we cannot see them with our physical eyes, we are denying our spiritual sight. And we're here to see spiritually. All right. Lesson 92. Miracles are seen in light, and light and strength are one. Miracles are seen in light, and light and strength are one. Please repeat this idea. Miracles are seen in light, and light and strength are one. The idea for today is an extension of the previous one. You do not think of light in terms of strength and darkness in terms of weakness. You do not think of light in terms of strength and darkness in terms of weakness. I suppose that we are inviting ourselves to think of light in terms of strength. And if we are associating with darkness, well, we can consider that to be weakness. That is because your idea of what seeing means is tied up with the body and its eyes and brain. Yes, I admit that. Thus, you believe that you can change what you see by putting little bits of glass before your eyes. This is among the many magical beliefs that come from the conviction you are a body, and the body's eyes can see. Okay, so it's not necessarily that we're getting the terms mixed up by using the same word for both physical and spiritual sight. It's that we think what vision is, what we are doing physically, we are calling that sight. Rather than finding a new term for what spiritual sight is, it's almost as if we need a new term for what physical sight is. Therefore, we're not denying some idea of spiritual sight because it's already wrapped up in the physical. We can say, seeing physically, I've been giving it the wrong term the whole time. I've fallen for my own illusion. I wonder what we would say instead of seeing. Well, image making. Doesn't quite have the same ring to it, but physical is to image make, and spiritual is to see. Maybe that works for us. We have conviction that we are a body and that the body's eyes can see. You also believe the body's brain can think. Yeah, I think I do believe that. If you but understood the nature of thought, you could but laugh at this insane idea. Okay, so maybe we do think that the brain thinks, and maybe that makes perfect sense from the body's perspective. What the book is asking us to do is not necessarily to deny that there is some rhyme or reason or system to what it is to be a body, that everything here does make sense. Well, we were going to use a logical framework. We're going to use our thinking, and we're going to believe that that is our brain doing that thinking. And everything in that realm perfectly does make sense. We would just end up proving our current system to ourselves. But if we are going to give some credence to the invisible, especially if we already do, noting our fear, therefore believing that there is something hiding in darkness, that darkness itself can hide, therefore we are afraid of it. If we are going to give credence to the invisible already, let's give credence to the invisible light. And perhaps another way of thinking is simply telling us, from the perspective of spiritual sight, we would laugh that we ever called physical sight sight at all, or that we ever called the brain's processing as thinking at all. That thoughts are something entirely different. And here we have been talking about God's thoughts are our thoughts and our thoughts are God's, that all minds are connected, that thoughts are miracles, that there are no neutral things because there are no neutral thoughts. So thoughts are expressions of love. Thoughts are the cause of what we are seeing and how we are seeing. I can admit that from a different lens. Maybe this is obvious. I could admit that if I thought differently about thoughts, or if I wasn't thinking at all, perhaps that I think I am thinking is already a clue that I'm off base with thoughts. But I can imagine that if I saw everything differently, I would also see what a thought is differently than I had before. I can admit that I'm firmly, I think it's loosening a little bit. I can admit that I am firmly in the perspective of a body, but I surely am very curious about these ideas that extend into the invisible and the ones that offer us an opportunity to notice more abundance, truth, and love. Hi. We would laugh at the insane idea if we understood the nature of thought. We would laugh that the body's brain can think, that we believe that at all. It is as if you thought you held the match that lights the sun and gives it all its warmth, or that you held the world within your hand, securely bound until you let it go. Yet this is no more foolish than to believe the body's eyes can see, the brain can think. Okay, so these are foolish ideas, the book says. I suppose it's suggesting that thought and what it is and its capabilities is something far greater than just thinking a brain might do. That perhaps thought is as if we held the match that lights the sun and gives it all its warmth, or that we held the world within our hand. Maybe. It is God's strength in you that is the light in which you see, as it is His mind with which you think. His strength, which we're being told today, is the same as the light. His strength denies your weakness, and that weakness is darkness. So God's light denies our darkness. His strength denies our weakness. It is your weakness or your darkness. It is your weakness that sees through the body's eyes. The body's eyes are perceiving darkness then. Peering about in darkness, okay? It is your weakness that sees through the body's eyes, peering about in darkness to behold the likeness of itself. We are trying to find the likeness of our bodily selves. The small, the weak, the sickly and the dying, those in need, the helpless and the afraid, the sad, the poor, the starving and the joyless. These are seen through eyes that cannot see and cannot bless. Whoa. It is your weakness that sees through the body's eyes, peering about in darkness to behold the likeness of itself. The small, the weak, the sickly, and the dying, those in need, the helpless and afraid, the sad, the poor, the starving, and the joyless. These are seen through eyes that cannot see and cannot bless. Strength overlooks these things by seeing past appearances. I suppose here's how we can find some resolution, because I do not imagine any of us think that if we simply turn away from someone who appears to be homeless or sad or dying, So let's see if we can find some reconciliation, some peace in this idea. Strength overlooks these things by seeing past appearances. It keeps its steady gaze upon the light that lies beyond them. It unites with light, of which it is a part. It sees itself. It brings the light in which yourself appears. Strength sees itself. It unites with light of which it is a part. So strength is a part of light. So it is seeing itself. Strength is seeing itself. It brings the light in which yourself appears. In darkness, you perceive a self that is not there. Strength is the truth about you. Weakness is an idol, falsely worshipped and adored, that strength may be dispelled, and darkness rule where God appointed that there should be light. Okay, a lot in that paragraph, but we could understand that if darkness wanted to have its kingdom, it would require that none of its subjects ever notice the light. Why? Why would I say that? Well, do you believe that you are in a dark room and someone brings in light like a candle? Do you believe that light overcomes darkness? Or are you fundamentally set on an idea that you could be in a lit room and somehow someone could come in with their shadow, I suppose, and that would overcome the light? That doesn't feel logical. So, and perhaps logic, well, that would be indicating that I'm thinking, but of course you and I are thinking here, communicating with each other, unless you see me differently. Strength is the truth about you. Weakness is an idol falsely worshipped and adored, that strength may be dispelled, and darkness rule where God appointed that there should be light. That if we are going to imagine a kingdom of darkness rather than a kingdom of light, it would naturally require that the rulers who choose to rule in darkness and use fear as its tool, that the rulers do not allow its citizens to even be remotely curious about the light. This is a difficult task because, of course, the light is within you. And if the light is within you, well, it doesn't necessarily take much for you to notice that light is everywhere. If it's in you, it's in everyone around you. So, to make a kingdom of darkness, you would have to constantly lie and deceive to make sure no one noticed their own light. But what if you had a kingdom of light? Well, it would be your will for all of the inhabitants to live in the light, to live in love and abundance. But if we are one of those inhabitants of this system of light, what are we doing down here, so to speak, playing in darkness? I suppose it's because the unconditionality of love and of light is not threatened by darkness. That, of course, any one of its subjects could decide to fall into darkness, which would be their own trap, their own fear, and their own hell. But it wouldn't threaten the kingdom of light. Only the kingdom of light would threaten the kingdom of darkness. So, if we are binding ourselves with darkness, eventually, hopefully, we wake up to the idea that we are simply living in an illusion, that there is no foundation upon which to build. And all of it requires on a lack of transparency. Do you see that in today's political leaders? Strength comes from truth and shines with light its source has given it. Weakness reflects the darkness of its maker. It is sick and looks on sickness. which is like itself. I love this idea. I love the idea of ideas simply reflecting themselves, but that is all they can do. I believe this idea allows me to see fear or pain or sadness as exactly what it is. And then I feel for this, not feel it and accept it as myself, that I may have more patience and humility for these things. It's okay. I felt that way before too. That's why I can recognize you. Have you tried love or light? And this allows me to offer it to myself in some way. So, if we are the body, we are simply trying to see ourselves, the body. If we are the light, we are simply reflecting ourselves. It's all we can express, so we will notice ourselves. It will be the tool we leverage to be known. Well, in the light, we can be building in the name of truth. In fear, if that's what we are, well, we are always afraid of advancing, and therefore we will constantly create a story that hides the light. This is the requirement of a kingdom of darkness. Strength comes from truth and shines with light its source has given it. Weakness reflects the darkness of its maker. It is sick and looks on sickness, which is like itself. That if we are sick, we are noticing sickness around us. If we are not at ease, we are seeing dis-ease. That is just what that idea is. We call it many other things because we believe they are external to us. That's what the book is suggesting. How we exactly get there, we're still figuring out together, unless you've already made it. But what to do when we see illness around us? I suppose we say, thank you for showing me that this is not how I wish to feel. But I accept that I am reflecting this. There is something in this illness that I do not like in me. What is it? Or do I feel sick? What will it take for me to let that go? What will I notice in its stead? Truth is a savior and can only will for happiness and peace for everyone. So truth as an idea can only offer truth. It can only will for happiness and peace for everyone. It gives its strength to everyone who asks in limitless supply. Yeah, absolute abundance of strength. That strength itself is an idea. It can only offer strength. It is strong, after all. Limitlessly strong. It seeks that lack in anyone would be a lack in all. It seeks that lack in anyone would be a lack in all. Okay? And so it gives its light that all may see and benefit as one. Its strength is shared, that it may bring to all the miracle in which they will unite in purpose and forgiveness and in love. So light as an idea is fundamentally full of light. All it can offer is everything that is. And it offers it to everyone. I suppose fear does the same. It offers it to everyone. And fear would be its greatest, all-encompassing, if it could only ask every mind to give up its light and see life through fear. Then fear might just be able not to be afraid any longer, as it now occupies every mind. But why wouldn't fear be able to? Well, fear fundamentally must be afraid, and strength fundamentally must be strong, and darkness must fundamentally be a void, and light must fundamentally be showing the way. Weakness, which looks in darkness, cannot see a purpose in forgiveness and love. Weakness, which looks in darkness, cannot see a purpose in forgiveness and love. It sees all others different from itself, and nothing in the world that it would share. because it is weak. It judges and condemns, but does not love. In darkness it remains to hide itself, and dreams that it is strong and conquering, a victor over limitations that but grow in darkness to enormous size. In darkness it remains to hide itself. And we are trying to allow our minds to relax to an idea that darkness cannot hide, that weakness cannot hide. Weakness does not believe it is worthy of the light and does not want to show itself, so it hides. It dreams that it is strong and conquering, but it is not. It is afraid to step into the light and show this because it fundamentally knows that it is not. Can you feel for weakness? Would you not want weakness to come forward and say, it's okay, you can do this. You can see yourself differently. Rather than scheme in the darkness, why don't you come out here with us and just try exactly as you are? Everyone can accept you doing your best, compounded over time, even in the physical. Would you not be something miraculously different than you were ever before? I suppose this is us compounding the idea of forgiveness over time. If weakness could notice love and forgiveness, how could it notice it? Well, of course, the strength of light, ever abundant, can simply say, there's enough for you too. Would you like to come out of darkness and be here with me? Weakness. It fears and it attacks and hates itself, and darkness covers everything it sees, leaving its dreams as fearful as itself. I can feel that. No miracles are here, but only hate. It separates itself from what it sees, while light and strength perceive themselves as one. We believe we are separate from what we are seeing. We believe that we are vulnerable, that we will die. We believe that to the infinite we are weak, and we cannot comprehend the infinite. But light and strength see themselves as one. The light of strength is not the light you see. Okay, this is helpful. The light of strength is not the light you see. It does not change and flicker and go out. It does not shift from night to day and back to darkness till the morning comes again. Let's repeat this idea. The light of strength is not the light you see. It does not change and flicker and go out. It does not shift from night to day and back to darkness till the morning comes again. Okay, our light in our homes, in this computer, even the sun, all take energy to shine. And I'm not saying that light is not without energy, but what I am saying is aligned in the idea of the truth, that which simply is. I believe that this idea takes no energy. In fact, it allows energy to relax. A lie, I believe, takes infinite energy if we are to get away with it. Infinite, because it relies on someone never knowing the truth. Therefore, it constantly requires another story to be told when you get curious about how the previous one lines up. So it requires fundamentally infinite energy. You have to remember everything about every lie you told to keep the story straight forever. But the truth cuts right through this. It just simply is. And because it is the truth, it is unconditional and wholly unchanged. It doesn't need anything. It is the truth. The truth. We may have emotional reactions to learning the truth when we have been seeing some lie. But that doesn't change anything about what the truth is. It just dismantles the lie. And it takes no energy. It takes simply knowing it. then you're done. Everything is transparent. Now we can move forward with what a connection is, a relationship is, because everything is known as best it can be known. Here, I simply offer you the truth. So, in my curiosity to wonder what seeing light is versus then perceiving, image making light here, I'm challenged by the vocabulary at the moment, but I'm trying to call physical sight something different than I have so I can allow the definition of sight and vision to be associated with seeing the truth. Well, seeing the light in this room when I open my eyes requires energy. This light bulb requires energy. The sun requires energy. As valuable as light is, as valuable as the sun is for what we are physically, well, my body physically requires energy. So where is the realm that requires no energy? That is the realm of truth. So moving forward, I will test the theory that true vision, the light of the mind rather than of the body and the eyes, the light of the mind seeing here requires no energy. I suppose this would be supported by the idea that if I am feeling an upset and I forgive it, myself, or whom I thought was the perpetrator, I'm left with whatever's left over, which is void of that upset. If I have been spending a lot of energy guarding myself against some trauma of the past so it doesn't happen again, and protecting my loved ones from the same idea, then I have been spending that energy. And to no longer spend that energy would mean I am spending less energy, or that I have it available for something else. But what would I need it for if we follow this idea out? I would need less and less and less energy. I would be seeing whatever is as it is because I wouldn't be subscribing to some fear, some list of attacks, some resulting grievances. It just would not be what I see if I let those things go. And as I let them go, I feel the strength, aka the light, associated with the levity that's coming from no longer hauling all of this baggage around with me. That the truth, the light in truth, requires no energy, that it is unconditional love. I suppose that, as the book is saying, is the fundamental difference between that light, seeing that light through the spiritual lens, and seeing this light through the body lens. Okay, A Course in Miracles, I ask you to help me reconcile then the previous idea that you said all the objects around me, that all the objects around themselves, rather, would be showing light when true vision is close. What does that mean? I suppose if true vision is close, if we're getting closer to it, I am innately separating my body vision from my spiritual vision and accepting both as the realms in which they exist. And maybe then the spiritual perspective blending with the physical perspective is causing light around objects, light in the form that my physical body could understand, but light around objects that my physical body would have to accept was not normal, not what it expected. That maybe seeing light physically is a representation of seeing light in a true sense, aligning ourselves with the unconditional, that which requires no change and cannot be changed. It simply is what it is. It doesn't need more energy to live. It does not flicker. It does not go out. It does not shift from night to day and back to darkness till the morning comes again. The light of strength is constant. Okay. Well, maybe I'm getting it if I'm ahead of the next paragraph. Thank you for your patience. The light of strength is constant, sure as love, forever glad to give itself away, because it cannot give but to itself. Okay. Stretching my definition of abundance rather than saying, I have so much to give, I could not possibly run out. Well, to add to this definition, how could I have so much to give that I could not possibly run out? Well, what if the effects of my giving was simply giving back to myself? This would be abundance. The exchange would be infinite. And it would be in my best interest to give. If it is a blessing to give and to receive, well, it would be a constant blessing to give myself away and simply notice more of myself. What would I be noticing? I would be noticing my giving self, not my hiding self. I suppose this in itself is the blessing, to see myself as someone who gives infinitely and sacrifices nothing in doing so. No one can ask in vain to share its sight, that is, the light of strength. The light of strength is constant, sure as love, forever glad to give itself away, because it cannot give but to itself. No one can ask in vain to share its sight, and none who enters its abode can leave without a miracle before his eyes, and strength and light abiding in its heart, in his heart. So if we step into the light, there is nothing we can do but accept that we have been blessed with the light. This is what I would like to do. See myself in this light. To grow this light, aka accept myself as limitless further. To set aside my attack thoughts on wanting to share this light or wanting to notice it. Laugh at myself for being so naive and arrogant, and continue laughing as I realize in my infiniteness, I am simply blessing all the time. I was at a coffee shop recently, and an elderly woman was having a birthday party there. And when she wanted to pass by, I got out of my chair and scooted it in. And she said to me, "You didn't bring a card." And I said, "I am the card." The strength in you will offer you the light and guide your seeing, so you do not dwell on idle shadows that the body's eyes provide for self-deception. Strength and light unite in you, and where they meet, yourself stands ready to embrace you as its own. You are at the crossroads of strength and light. Such is the meeting place we try today to find and rest in. For the peace of God is where yourself, his son, is waiting now to meet itself again and be as one. Remember, whatever the unconditional is would be the foundation of whatever is. It would be existing even if you were not noticing it, when you believed that darkness is a place to hide, that you cannot know the light is there. It is not that we are changing and therefore the world has changed. It's that we are changing, our perception is changing, so that we may see how it has always been. Strength and light unite in you, and where they meet, yourself stands ready to embrace you as its own. Yourself stands ready to embrace you as its own. Seeing yourself. I'm remembering a time when I have seen myself before I ever picked this book up. I remember laughing, seeing myself. If you'll accept an image. It was a triangle. And as I peered into the triangle, I saw myself, and I could feel myself and myself. And I laughed. And it seemed that I could come my way and bring myself with me, or I could go that way and be with myself. And in either case, we were together. I suppose this idea was silly enough to forget about until this moment. And I'm reminded how much effervescent laughter I experienced in noting myself inside of this Trinity, I suppose. Your self stands ready to embrace you as its own. Such is the meeting place we try to find and rest in. For the peace of God is where yourself, his son, you are God's son, it is saying. The peace of God is where you are waiting now to meet you again, where his son is waiting to meet itself again. For you to simply remember what is there beyond your grievances. It's still there waiting. That's the gift and will of God. It's forever there. Requires no energy to upkeep it. We're just here going to spin our wheels until we die. Constantly using up energy to say, this has to survive. This is all I am. That cannot be true. I have been visited by my grandmas and by my cat and by my past dog. It simply cannot be true that we are only physical. Let us give 20 minutes twice today, 20 minutes twice today, to join this meeting. Let yourself be brought unto yourself. Its strength will be the light in which the gift of sight is given you. Its strength, being brought to ourselves, its strength will be the light in which the gift of sight is given you. Okay. To see more truly, to accept a way of seeing that requires no energy to perceive, non-flickering light, forever constant, to see this way will be a gift of strength. Leave then the dark a little while today, and we will practice seeing in the light, closing the body's eyes and asking truth to show us how to find the meeting place of self and self, of self lowercase and self uppercase. I suppose we are the self lowercase in the body, curious, asking what were we asking, closing the body's eyes and asking truth. Dear truth, please show me how to find this meeting place. Truth says, what meeting place would you like to find? And we would say, where I, myself, Kesten, speaking now, seeing myself now, however I'm observing, dreaming, setting aside my darkness for a moment, however that is represented. Okay, I agree. I set it aside and I ask truth. Truth, please take me to the meeting place where my physical self with this mind and consciousness may meet myself, capital S, me, foundationally, the mind of God, the Son of God. Please take me to the place where light and strength are one. Morning and evening we will practice thus. After the morning meeting, we will use the day in preparation for the time at night when we will meet again in trust. Let us repeat as often as we can the idea for today and recognize that we are being introduced to sight and led away from darkness to the light where only miracles can be perceived. Miracles are perceived in light. Please, let's repeat this idea. Miracles are seen in light, and light and strength are one. Miracles are seen in light, and light and strength are one. Miracles are seen in light, and light and strength are one. I am Kesten Rono. I am strengthened in the light. I am the card. And I'll see you tomorrow for day 93. Please be well.